Hey everyone, this is Matt with Learn Everything About Design, and in today's video, we're looking at the new Revopoint POP 4 3D scanner. So I have had this scanner sitting next to my desk for at least a couple of weeks now, and I've hesitated to make a video on it. Now on this channel, we are obviously a Revopoint affiliate, so keep that in mind when you're watching our review on this. But in general, I turn down any scanner that is like a Kickstarter or crowdsourced scanner or anything that's still not in production. I've met with several other scanner companies besides Revopoint, and I tell them pretty much all the same thing. The only exception to that I made was with the Metro X scanner. That one I felt was pretty important when it was being released. I got my hands on a very early version, several early versions, and provided feedback on how it was working and how it wasn't. This scanner, because Revopoint has been doing this for quite a while, was pretty much ready to go out of the box. Again, there are some growing pains with firmware and software updates and things like that. But now that this thing is getting released tomorrow, or if you're watching this video today, May 7th, I thought it was about time for us to talk about it. And so there are a lot of features packed into this scanner. It's a lot to cover, but in this video, I'm going to do my best to explain it to you. Now, if you are purchasing this, keep in mind the price does tend to fluctuate. Right now, at the time of filming, it is listed at around $500 on the Revopoint site. We have our affiliate link and discount code, which I'll leave in the description of the video. It's going to be under $1,000, but again, depending on when you see this video, that price is going to fluctuate. This one here, the POP 4, has several different scan modes. There's 4 total, really 5 or 6. There are several modes in here. So we're going to talk about all the features and what's going on with this scanner. If you have a POP 3 or if you have another Revopoint scanner and you're curious if this is going to fill a gap for you, hopefully this video will help. If I don't answer all the questions, leave a comment, let me know. I'll do my best to get back to you and try to fill in any blanks that we have on this. So first things first, what is the scanner? Who is it for? What is it for? What features does it have? Well, this is a small to medium object scanner. It has laser scanning, it has NIR, full field structured light mode, and it also has a mode called VCSEL or VCSEL. Now that is a different situation than when we have like a full field or structured light mode that puts out a pattern of lines. The VCSEL mode or the VCSEL mode is putting out dots or points. Now you might think, well, that's what we're getting back when we're scanning. We're getting points back into the depth cameras. Well, this structure is a little bit different, and all the modes kind of vary in terms of what you're getting back out of it, in terms of accuracy, precision, speed, and overall quality of your scan. So there are different reasons why you would use different modes, and this scanner pretty much covers a pretty wide spectrum of objects that you might scan. Anything from small mechanical parts where you need laser scanning to bigger objects like a person, an entire person. All right, so first things first, the scan modes. So we've got our NIR full field mode. So this is a feature tracking style. You can use markers, you can use global marking. It does also have color capture. It's got a pretty good RGB camera in it. We've got what they call the splattering mode or the VCSEL mode. So this is essentially, again, points or dots that are projected out. There is a hybrid mode, and the hybrid mode is essentially a combination of the NIR plus the VCSEL mode. And then there's a laser scanning mode. Now the laser scanning mode has 30 cross lines, but also a single laser line. And we've seen the addition of laser scanning modes to the Inspire 2. And obviously all of the Metro series scanners, the Metro X, Metro X Pro, the Metro Y, and the Metro Y Pro, those are all dedicated laser scanners with varying, sort of configurations of cross lines, parallel lines, single line, and so on. This thing also is capable of wireless scanning. So obviously it does have Wi-Fi 6 built in. The kit, at least the one that I have here, does come with the power handle. It's claimed to be good for up to 4 hours of wireless scanning. You can use the screen mirroring app. Personally, I avoid using apps on my phone pretty much at all, but you can use that to sort of mirror what you see on your laptop or your desktop, and it will communicate with the laptop or the desktop. No processing or anything is happening on the phone. It's really just a display so you can kind of see what's going on. So again, the kit does include, at least this kit I have does include that. It includes a basic turntable. It does also work with the 2-axis turntable that we see in some of the advanced or pro kits for the Metro series of scanners. So it does have capability for that. So all of those scan modes really cover a pretty wide spectrum. Now, as you go through them, you'll notice the single frame accuracy tends to drop. So in the laser mode, we've got 0.03 millimeters. As we go to full field mode, it's something like 0.08. As we go to the splattering mode or the VCSEL mode, then it really depends on the distance. So if you're like 300 to 500 millimeters away, it's like 0.1 millimeters. And then if you go past that, 500 to 800, then you're really looking at about 0.2 millimeters. So again, it really depends on what you're scanning. For mechanical parts or detailed parts, you would use a laser scanning mode and you would get better accuracy. As you're scanning larger objects, art pieces or statues or people, then you're not really as worried about the precision and accuracy of those. It does have reasonably good tolerance stack up. So if you are scanning bigger objects, that sort of compounding error is okay. But again, it's really meant for small to medium size objects. It's not a large object scanner. When you go to something like the Morocco, you can be up to 1,000 millimeters away. The range series of scanners, if you still have one, those can be like 12 to 1,400 millimeters away. And so as you get to these scanners where the depth cameras are further apart and you're farther away from the object, the precision and accuracy tends to drop, but you're capturing a larger area. And so that's kind of how it works. Now, in terms of things like frame rates, you get really good frame rates out of this, up to like 105 frames a second, somewhere in there, if you've got applicable hardware. Now that's where this gets a little tricky. When we were doing the Metro series of scanners, there were a lot of complaints about support for the macOS. This one does claim or list that it does support macOS, and it also does support obviously Windows 10 and 11. I would pay close attention to the PC specs if you're looking to buy the scanner. The minimum PC specs for a Windows system is 12th Gen i9. It also claims that you need 32 gigs of RAM or more, and the GPU acceleration only works with NVIDIA cards. So they use the CUDA cores. So if you have an AMD card, you're really not going to get any benefit out of GPU acceleration. You're going to be stuck on CPU acceleration. And that's a difference between like 30 frames a second and 100 frames a second. So something to keep in mind. Hardware is really expensive right now. It's hard to get if you can get it. And that could be a make or break decision for whether or not this is the right scanner for you. So if you've got a Mac system or if you've got an older system, this laptop here is a 13th Gen i7, 32 gigs of RAM. It's got an NVIDIA RTX 3500 card or something. So it's below the specs that they request. And it works fine for me. I haven't really noticed any performance hits or issues. But again, look at those recommended specs, decide whether or not you want to gamble if you've got an older system, to see if you can make it work. I do have an older 10th Gen i7 that has got an old Quadro 4000 card, and it will not do GPU acceleration on any of the Metro series scanners or this thing. So there is certainly a breaking point to whether or not you can use some of that older hardware. So that's something big to keep in mind. A couple of other features that have been tucked into this. There's now a new AI segmentation feature. And if you watched any of my other videos and some of my rants, you'll know that I hate AI and I don't want to use it. This is a local AI tool, and essentially what's happening, because right now I've got this computer offline, and what's happening is if I'm using something like the VCSEL mode or the splattering mode, you can turn that feature on, and if you're scanning a person or if you're scanning an object, it uses this sort of highlighting, almost looks like you're in the Matrix, and it highlights the object green, and then everything outside of that gets filtered out. There's nothing that you have to do or select. It kind of happens automatically. And so that can be a really nice feature, because a lot of times when we're scanning, we pick up background images, all this junk that I've got on this workbench here, for example, we can pick all that stuff up. So that's a feature that you can toggle on and it works. Another thing they tucked into this is something called 3D Gaussian splattering. And so with, at least with that VCSEL mode or that splattering mode, you can save a .splat file, which is going to be useful for things like animation or VR setup, things like that. Not really something we do on the channel. We focus more on CAD and design and engineering type projects. So it's not really something that is a selling point for me. But if you are looking at, let's say, scanning objects for assets, it could be very helpful because of the way that it bakes the color in the sort of the final mesh. Typically when we do color scans, we output an OBJ file and a material file with that, and it's kind of an overlay. The splat file is going to just behave a little bit differently. So if that's interesting to you, this is the only scanner I'm currently aware of in the Revopoint lineup that will do that. So again, some of the big takeaways, we really need to focus on PC specs. Make sure that you pay close attention to the requirements. Again, the minimum specs for this on like a Windows system, they want a 12th gen i9, at least 32 gigs of RAM, and a Quadro, or not Quadro, RTX 4050 or 4000, somewhere around there. So, you know, those are pretty big specs, and you're gonna need a pretty powerful workstation to handle that. On the Mac side of things, it will work on like an M3 Pro or M3 Max or whatever the ranges are. And it does say that it can use less RAM on those. I think it's like 24 gigs, but just pay close attention to that. If you're looking to upgrade to this, make sure that your system can handle it. If you are looking for a scanner that will do laser scanning and will also have some of those other modes like the sort of VCSEL mode or hybrid mode or the full field NIR mode, this has got quite a lot of features packed into it. So far I've been pretty impressed with it. It's not going to give you as crisp as a crisp scan as something like the Metro Y Pro will, but it's pretty close, and the performance is pretty close as well in terms of you know, how easy it is to move around. I will say that Revo Scan 6, the workflow functionality, where buttons are, all these kinds of things, is actually a big departure or big change from how RevoScan 5 and 4 in previous generations worked. So that is something that's going to take a little bit of getting used to, where the settings are, how you set things up. There are some benefits. There's easier functionality to group projects together and group scans together. Of course, these all support global markers, which is pretty much common across the line right now. And it does support a lot of those additional functionalities like the 2-axis turntable. But at the end of the day, I think for $500 to $1,000, this has a ton of functionality packed into it. I think if you're looking to scan larger objects, people, statues, art pieces, that VCSEL mode or the splattering mode, which is what they originally called it, that is something that's pretty powerful. It's quick, pulls a lot of points in, but keep in mind that those larger objects, you're really looking at plus or minus 0.2 millimeters for the single frame accuracy. Now, if you're trying to do more detailed parts, something like these little mechanical pieces, I scanned this drill here. If you're trying to do parts like that, you really need to make sure that you're using marker dots in the laser mode, but it has the precision and accuracy to make those parts work pretty well in terms of getting a good quality result. Okay, one last note, something I forgot. The kit does come with the filters that can be used for outdoor scanning. And so the claim is that this can go up to 100,000 lux, which is a pretty good value. Most of the other outdoor scanners that we've talked about will do 20 to 30,000 lux. So the Inspire 2 with the filters, the NR, I think they're called NR filters. I mistakenly said they were UV filters last time. We'll get you to like 30,000 lux. This one claims that you can do, I want to say it's about 50,000 lux in laser mode and up to 100,000 lux in the VCSEL mode, the splattering mode. And so that's something that can be very important for those of you that are trying to scan outside. Not something I generally do, but it is something that's important to note. Now back to the other video. So if you have any questions on any of this, please let me know. We will be doing some more projects with this scanner, but I wanted to get this basic review out. So if anybody's considering buying this, you have a good idea as to what it is, what it does, and where it fits up in the lineup. But any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you are purchasing and you want to support the channel, I'll leave our affiliate information in the description as well as a discount code. And other than that, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.